Welcome back to a brand new video, and today we're talking about WWE Unreal Episode 1, and I watched Episode 1, and I thought it was pretty good. But before we get into the video, big thumbs up down below, hit the subscribe button if you are new, because I'm on the road to 500 subscribers, really like to get there before the end of the year. Also, leave your comments down below if you saw Episode 1 of WWE Unreal, and what you guys think about in the comments below. I thought it was a pretty solid episode, but let's get into it. For episode, Triple H talks about how for the last 30 years, people only knew you by your wrestling name, not by your real name or any nicknames like that. But in this new era, we will show you something different and completely different, like real names and stuff like that. Okay, because he talked about how he's going by Paulo Levesque for the past couple of years. So yeah, and then we make it to Cody Rhodes' house in Georgia in 2024 when he was the Undisputed Champion, and he talks, and it shows that his name is Cody Reynolds and stuff like that. It's crazy stuff like that, but he talks about how his daughter thinks his job is a dancer, which I thought was hilarious. How his daughter thinks Cody's a dancer, which I started dying laughing. That was funny. And how being Undisputed Champion, because he's Undisputed Champion this time. I don't know exactly the time period this was in 2024, but he was Undisputed Champion. And he talks about how it's different and it's hard. You have to be there like every day, and all that stuff. And Brandy talks about how Cody is Undisputed Champion. It's different than anything she's ever seen through his career, since, you know, Brandy's been with Cody like basically his entire different eras of his wrestling career. And this being Undisputed Champion was the most different version of Cody's career she's ever seen, which I thought was pretty interesting. A pretty interesting take. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty interesting take. Cody also says that that he's luckily have a wife that like kind of understands pro wrestling, because like him being away for 365 days, almost a year. It's kind of hard. Well, he's not that way that long, but he's way most of the year, so well, it's kind of hard for Troll. And also, Triple H did say that Cody Rhodes is like the only true babyface they have right now, and stuff like that. Now we make it back to WWE headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut, and they basically showed off the entire schedules of the calendar year, and they basically treat it as like like they treat this as a season, and the season. Well, this one starts, the new era starts here. So from here to here, and they start from there to there, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty light, and it also has a nice calendar, like it, very nice. Then they start the Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, then WrestleMania. It's a pretty nice formulaic thing. I thought so. He talks about how he physically can't do this anymore because his body gives up, and he also starts talking about the one thing you can't control is the crowd, but you have to make decisions based off of that. So yeah. Also, I like how he says, they call me John Cena, my government name is John Cena, and my name is John Cena. Literally just went both way up, bro. Went both up. They want Cody, and Cody wants to be at the Raw thing. Day 1 debut, stuff like that, so they talk about that and show that, which I thought was pretty interesting myself. So they showed like a bunch of pictures like that, and the taxidermy she has in her house too, and then she shows her real name, by the way. Pretty cool, actually. I was not expecting her to reveal her real name. Demet Bennett, you know what I'm saying? Demi Bennett. Rhea Ripley, and yeah. But she says that when WWE came to Australia, when she was 17, she tried to try out, but she was too young since she was 17. But when they came back when she was 20, she was able to try out, and the rest was history. Then she talks about her feud with Liv and how she doesn't think the Dominic's love story was not supposed to be a love story, and how like it was different. And then she talks about her feud with Liv, obviously, how it was going on for 2 years and stuff like that. And when she got thrown into a wall, as you guys know, when she got thrown into a wall, she got a third-degree separation. When she got into her shoulder messed up, and she still actually she never got surgery on it because it would act that was the only way you could heal it. So technically, she's still technically injured, but I don't think it's as bad as it once. Like so, because she still has like a little thing. If you look at her shoulder closely in the documentary in episode 1, you can still see how it's still messed up. So yeah. Next person we get to see in this documentary was CM Punk. CM Punk, Punker, Pepsi Phil Brooks, and he says it's a accountant's name, so, I mean, you probably ain't wrong. But he talks about his Hall of Fame career and his beef with Triple H and why they have beef, which honestly I thought was pretty interesting to see, you know, see why they have beef in the first place. And the reason why they have beef is because they were like active at the same time, but Triple H was coming closer to the end of his full time run, but they were still together in the WWE full time run, and they were doing competitions. You know, back then you were kind of butting heads to get that top spot, and when he became like a position, CM Punk thought in his head, "You can't tell me anything to do." So basically, he just thought Triple H couldn't do anything. Like he couldn't tell him what to do, which I thought was pretty cool. And then they talk about the pipe bomb, and then they had Michael Hayes say like, CM Punk that was Phil Brooks' words when he was thinking through CM Punk, which I also thought was pretty cool. Like saying that like CM Punk was being talked by Phil Brooks, and how Phil Brooks' frustration led into the CM Punk character in this pipe bomb promo. And that was really, really cool. Wait, hold on. And then we move on to when he returned to WWE in 2023. Because Triple H that's because they talked a bunch of different times, and they said, well, that's the same CM Punk that from when he originally left in 2013 and stuff like that. And then when this happened, they said, well, this is different. Let's get this is different people. Let's get this talking. Obviously, we see Jacobs. CM Punk says, I love you, Jacob. And he said, I love you too, Punk. Can I get a picture? Then they showed the press conference and stuff like that from the before Raw debuted on Netflix. He talked a little bit about the Seth beef and how Seth wanted him Seth wanted Punk to train him for free and stuff like that. And Punk did say that Seth is basically himself from 2013. So, which is honestly really interesting to hear from CM Punk. But I guess that's how CM Punk really truly feels about Seth Rollins. So we get a voiceover from Triple H talking about Gorilla Position and what basically it meant. And really what it meant was Gorilla Monsoon used to give like cues to real like the people like the superstars back in the day, but then they turned it into a Gorilla Position, which now it's basically a big thing. And how the producers talk to the referees. So like literally the producers tell the referee like if there's a spot that has to come up or like stuff like that, which I thought was pretty cool to see the inside scoop of how like the referees and how the wrestlers know the spots and stuff. I really did think that was interesting. So yeah. One thing I also thought was very, very cool about the Gorilla Position and like all about that stuff like that was literally like how all of the producers are former wrestlers themselves. Like Michael Hayes is a former wrestler, Abyss is a former wrestler. Because Chris Park is Abyss, who's a producer who produced the Seth Rollins CM Punk match. Brother Love, which is Bruce Pritchard, I found out a lot more, but I thought that was pretty cool that all the producers are former wrestlers themselves, so they kind of understand how to build a match in themselves. So I think that's a really cool thing that they added in this documentary, how all the producers are literally wrestlers themselves, like Bobby Roode and stuff like that. So I found that interesting. And look who we got here. It's the Bald Fraud Dwayne on the Netflix debut. But Rhea talks about how stressed she was on the Netflix debut, how she was like having panic attacks, and like how she was not in the right mind, and she thought she looked fat or didn't look good in this like outfit or something, and all that stuff. So yeah. Also, I saw this, and I just have to say, I don't know what's more impressive: signing all of these pictures or whatever you like to call them, or how this guy has to move as fast as possible to get this done. Not gonna lie, that's the most impressive about that. Anyway, enough about that. She also says how she tells most of how the like a match is about to her to Damian Priest. How Damian Priest like helps her a lot and like tells her to slow down and like all this stuff and to calm her down before a match and stuff like that. Which honestly, that's a W friend right there. W friend. I see that's a W friend for Damian Priest, helping her calm down and tell her to slow down so that she won't mess up a match or anything. I think that's what a friend should do, which I think Damian Priest does this thing that he's supposed to do. And I think Rhea does them to have like actual. They are friends because we knew that, but it's crazy that like a wrestler like Rhea Ripley, who's so confident on television, but backstage before she turns into the Rhea Ripley character, she's like her real life self and like is very stressed out before like a match. So I think it's very interesting to hear from a wrestler's perspective. And then we got Triple H hugging her and basically telling her this. I think this was after the match against Liv on Raw debut on Netflix. She, like the pops she was getting, like the biggest stars like that and stuff like that. So of course Triple H, talking to his wrestlers, giving them good luck and support and stuff like that. So yeah, really do like that about Triple H and this new era of wrestling in WWE. But the most crazy part about this documentary is how Punk was literally talking to his European friends, which turned out to be Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser, which is disgusting. What is happening? What world are we living in where we have CM Punk talking to Gunther and Ludwig Kaiser as friends? That is disgusting. I didn't even know that. Also, found out during this little segment right here too that his match with Seth wasn't supposed to be as long as it was. Like, it was supposed to be shorter and stuff like that because Bruce Prichard was saying, well, it's Netflix, you can go as long as you want, and that's not really how it works. Which I thought is a very interesting piece of information for us wrestling fans to know that since it's Netflix, we can't go as long as you want, which makes sense because the arena, how long you have the arena rented out for, because you can only have like I think people in the arena for a certain amount of time or whatever was allowed. Because they cut out the on the kind of Vice and stuff like that. Apparently, also the producer of this match was Abyss, Chris Park and stuff like that. So they cut out a bunch of stuff out from this match, which I was really, really, very, very interested in, and always thought that was something cool to think about. That this match was not supposed to be as long as it was, but it was still a great match. And then, of course, we got, this is Abyss, by the way. Chris Park was talking to Bruce Prichard and making sure he wasn't mad at Bruce Bruce Pritchard wasn't at him because Bruce Pritchard wanted the show to end at exactly the time he wanted the show to end because all the stuff had to be done, and really William Regal had to go over there and talk to him and say, hey, he's not mad at you. You had a phenomenal match and stuff like that. And Bruce Pritchard was kind of beating himself up about how long the match was, and he had to cut out certain parts of the match and stuff like that. But William Regal had to come over, calm him down, and say, hey, you did fine, blah blah blah, which I thought was very nice of William Regal to do. So, yeah, episode 1 of WWE Unreal. I thought it was pretty good episode 1. I can't actually wait to see the next episodes of WWE Unreal. Really enjoyed this episode, so yeah. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Drop a big thumbs up down below. Hit subscribe if you're new. Anyway, have a beautiful rest of your day. See you tomorrow. Bye.